Here we go. We are live.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry, we're running slightly late.
A minute.
A minute. Are we a minute late? Welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try not to cough. Yes. Hello. Welcome.
Quickly, before we forget, because we're terrible at forgetting to say things, Sharon, I don't know if Sharon is in. Sharon very kindly sent me a package. It has arrived. I haven't thought about messaging you to thank you yet, but I need to do that. The CDs are here. Thank you so much. I will be in touch. So yeah, we wanted to talk about something we touched on a couple of weeks back, and it's about success and what is success, particularly in our little world. And we've got an interesting take on that. So we thought we'd chat about that, and you can share your thoughts in the side chat. So if you are watching us live, please join in the side chat. We'll say a few hellos whilst people are joining us. We're almost at 100 viewers already, lots of people popping in. First was Leanne. You are very welcome. Hope you are well. The theory is the more you list, the more you sell. On a practical level, yes, that does kind of add up. Pitco, hello. Now, Barry, I was just reading this. Evening, Barry. Just to say, my surgery went well, and they have put 2 clips on the mitral valve by keyhole surgery on Tuesday. Came home yesterday after 3 months in hospital.
3 months. Oh my goodness.
3 months. Wow. Congratulations,
you
Barry.
must have been so relieved to get home.
Yeah. Hope you have a swift recovery. I remember after your surgery, you had quite a long recovery time after but Andrea's was open heart, wasn't keyhole. So hopefully you'll have a quicker recovery time.
Yeah. Well, I went in for keyhole first, didn't I?
Didn't work.
And no, I had to do it the other way.
That's great news. Glad you're home. Hello, James. It's been wet and windy here.
We haven't had snow. Well, we had a flurry of snow, but nothing laid.
No.
It's just been mainly rain, a lot of wind today.
Speak for yourself.
Did have Brussels sprouts for tea, but yeah.
We literally have just had Brussels. It was almost like a Christmas dinner we just had, wasn't it? There was parsnips.
Yeah.
Big cooked onions, roasted onions.
Yeah. Yummy.
We'll be farting tonight. Mark, hi, Antoinette. People wishing Barry all the best. Mattie's in. Hi. I don't know if you replied to my text, Mattie. Hope you're okay. Ian, welcome. Right, let's whiz down to the end.
Whiz, there's Glasshammer.
Glasshammer, welcome. Chris, I'm terrible with names. Right, let's see if we can get down to the end.
Ali and Jake and Richard.
Yeah, Richard and Ali are in. There we go.
Helen, Ross.
Watching whilst making fajitas.
Oh, lovely.
Looking forward to Nick's new YouTube series, Pimp My Board Game. Now he has a shiny new toy. You've been seeing my Instagram account. I haven't picked that up yet. That picture was the eBay listing. But I bought a big power tool, put it that way. I managed to cut myself regularly whilst doing DIY. I cut my knuckle straight down the middle to the bone the other day. And now I bought a massive saw.
Yeah, I was out as well, wasn't I? I came home and you said you'd have to have a lie down.
There was a lot of blood from a tiny little cut, but it was super deep and the blood was just everywhere. It was a fun one. Anyway.
Oh, I've just seen Chris. Chris is in.
Chris, hi Chris. Wow, lots of hellos. Blimey.
Nick's whizzing, so I'm trying to pick people out as we go. There's RJ.
Jennifer says, day off for a changed. Oh, you are very welcome. Glad you're here.
See you.
Right. Crumbs, I'm at the bottom.
Oh, there's Sharon.
That's Rod.
Rod. Oh, hello.
Hello, mate. So we were going to talk about success. I can't remember how
there's Treasure Trove.
We came around to this subject, but it was something you spoke about a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Around the definition of success and comparing yourself to others, and a lot of these internet posts that get put out there. And also I get comments on my videos really belittling what I do. Oh, you're still in your shed pottering around selling secondhand stuff, as if it's somehow less than whatever they might be doing, right?
Yeah.
And being judged on your level of success, I think, is a very toxic thing. So we're going to talk about our opinions on that.
Yeah. And what is success?
Yeah. So
yeah.
I want to
Okay.
start with the dictionary definition of success is interesting. It is the achieving of the results wanted or hoped for. So by the dictionary definition, the parameters of success are dictated by your own goals, what you are trying to achieve. Others cannot tell you whether you are or are not successful, and you can't compare. My goals, what I want to get out of this, are mine and nobody else's, and quite often very, very different.
Yeah.
So it does irk me when people judge based on pre-assumed definitions of success. See, I'm getting on my bandwagon. On my soapbox now.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear your opinions on this.
What we were talking about earlier is that reselling is such a vast thing. It's not like, although we say, oh, you're a reseller, it's not like saying, oh, you're a plumber, or something like that, because it's not just one job. It's not one job that is exactly the same for everybody.
Yeah.
It is, I always say it's not a one size fits all.
No.
It's something that can fit you and suit your lifestyle. And it can be anything, right from, like we were saying about the guys at the eBay Awards, they're selling golf balls.
Yeah, on an industrial scale.
Yeah. And, everybody sells something different, and everybody's business looks different and runs differently. And, it's so vast. You can make reselling what you want it to be. And just because one person has a reselling business that looks one way, it doesn't mean to say that the person over here has to have a reselling business that looks exactly the same as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. There's some interesting comments coming in. We'll get to those. The other thing is, and I think it's a social media thing, but social media posts and success tends to be so weighted towards the financials, how much you've made, how many listings you have. And there's a lot of judgment out there. And I think it's misplaced, because let's go back to the parameters of my success, and it might be different for Andrea. We're very similar, but we're in this for our own personal reasons. Mine is that there's a few, but the main one is I don't want to work for somebody else. That's my main goal, and I am achieving my goal, therefore being successful every day. I am not working for somebody else.
Yeah, while we're making enough money to be comfortable and to cover all our costs, then we are successful every single day.
So we are very open about the fact we don't earn masses doing this anymore, but it's pretty much by choice. And when I get these sometimes very sort of sideways having a go comments saying, oh, really? You're just messing about in your shed? Yes. And being very successful at messing around in my shed, not having a boss. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And earning our own money in order to keep ourselves afloat financially.
So it's those, I guess there's many kind of strings to this argument, or this question, but my bugbear is those very kind of toxic jabs at people who are coming at reselling purely from a financial numbers point of view and judging others. And it really ticks me off, if I'm being honest. Let's see what the chat's saying. I just wanted to highlight this quickly. Will says, thanks for the advice last week. Put 10% on everything on all my items. Promoted, do you think? Oh yeah, promotion. Then put 10% promotion on every item and doubled my sales. Well, there you go. That worked. I need to do that again soon on a select load of old stuff.
So put 10% on everything. So put it up by 10% and then promote it by 10%.
Oh, does you think that's what that means? So raise your prices and then promote it by 10%. That's
clever.
If that's what you mean, that's awesome. I think I mentioned, rather than doing a sale, like a 10% off sale, I would much rather put a 10% promotion on. But that's even cleverer in a way. Put your price up and then promote to the same percentage.
Yeah.
Might try that.
Yeah.
Might try that.
Yeah. Chris and Catherine moved this weekend.
Oh, right.
Now our fellow Norfolk people.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. We'll have to come visit. Come visit. Be nosy.
Yeah, well, I've been talking to Catherine about getting together.
Awesome. Ross says, CEO culture is everywhere, not just in reselling. It's based on a toxic masculinity culture. It's rife in the corporate world too. If folk want to succeed, fair play to them, but don't force it on others. Yes, or at least don't judge others by your definition of success. I'm not saying don't have your own definition that I want to be a millionaire by 30 or whatever it might be, right? Absolutely, go for it. I'll be 100% behind you, but don't impose that on me if that's not what I'm trying to achieve. And also
don't feel the pressure to have that imposed on you if it really doesn't suit you.
Yeah.
And you feel you have to, because you feel like what you're comparing yourself to, they're basically saying that's what it should look like. You should be doing that. There's no should in it at all.
No.
It's what works for you and your lifestyle.
Yes. And then you get this because I've got £1 million turnover, I'm looking down at all you little businesses. It really isn't that simple. And these little businesses may be absolutely loving life, as happy as they can be, fulfilled, all of the things that actually we're trying to achieve in life.
Yeah, because you can't take the money with you.
You can't take the money with you. Thanks for the comment, Ross. Hannah says, I commend you on what you do. You do it every day and you seem to love what you do. And that's all that matters. You keep being what you do.
Keep being you.
I've lost it.
What you do is just as valuable as anyone else.
Yes. And that's the essence of what I'm trying to get across, very rambly in my normal way. But yeah. And I feel that those sentiments that Hannah's just put forward get lost, particularly in social media. I think that tends to lean into bigger, better, faster, more, and then look down on others who aren't in that mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
We get a lot of we see a lot of people like making sort of plans in terms of like having a planner, and I do this on this day and that on that day and blah 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 blah. And that works for some people, but it also doesn't work for others, in terms of you can also have some people like to set goals. For other people that doesn't work either, but you should never feel the pressure to do that. We're very kind of, as we said to Sean and Andrea the other night, a bit loosey-goosey with things. We're kind of we just do what we, obviously there are days we have to do the packaging, but otherwise you just if you were doing this, we feel, and it's not the same for everybody, but for us, if we were doing exactly the same thing every single day, we'd go absolutely mad, wouldn't we?
Well, I don't stick to a rigid structure, but it still feels like Groundhog Day most weeks, even though I do whatever as and when.
Yeah.
Right. When I'll go in there tomorrow and maybe make a picking orders video on Monday, it's proper Groundhog Day every week.
Yeah, I suppose it would be.
But I purposefully don't stick to a rigid schedule of what I do every day, so I mix it up a bit.
So mix it up a bit, and then it actually doesn't feel like work, because otherwise it feels like that you're going to work and somebody else is imposing something on you.
Here's the other thing. I knew this would be interesting. If I am more structured, I am more efficient, and I get more done and I earn more money, that is a reality. But that isn't necessarily the goal. My goal is to try and stay as stress-free as I can. And it was funny, we were talking about this on the sofa, and Ellen looked at me and she goes, well, Dad, I think you're quite a stress head, really. And I am in certain ways. That's just how my brain works. Hence, I need a day-to-day that doesn't add to that. Right?
Yes.
Anyway, let's read the chat. Here we go. Stress is a killer.
Yeah, it's the cortisol that's the killer.
It 100% is. And if I had stayed in the corporate world, well, I wasn't corporate. My last job was, as I'm sure many of you know, I was in the police force. But it is a very structured, you're a cog in a big machine. It was killing me.
That's why it was brief. because you realise very quickly it wasn't for you.
But I agree, stress is a killer. Being happy and stress-free is success. There you go. And if you define your success within those parameters, that's it. Yeah. That's what you need to stay focused on. Oh, I am being successful because I'm not going to work for somebody every day and getting stressed. Yeah. But staying focused on your goals and celebrating your goals and your success within that is difficult in the social media age, I think was what we were concluding earlier.
Yes.
I just still haven't finished reading this. I have a lot of issues with stress, not in reselling in the last 2 years, and it's really bad for you. Yeah, we're probably very similar, Ross. Next time we get together, we'll chat about that. Yeah. I don't cope with it, particularly stress imposed on me by others. Hence, I do this. Go on.
The Dave says, I'm 46 next year and I wish I could give up the day job and become a full-time reseller. Hopefully one day. Much respect to anyone that can make reselling their full-time thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then RJ says, the mistake I see a lot is people trying to copy others. Be yourself and do your thing. Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
And a lot of what we've said feeds into that. You were saying that reselling isn't a one size fits all kind of thing. You get into reselling, I think, many times because you can make it fit your goals, your idea of success. Remember, that's what success is, achieving your goals. Yeah. And reselling can be, and I wrote some down. Success could be saving for a holiday once a year. And if that's what you're setting out to do and you achieve it by selling 5 things a week on eBay, that's success. That's as successful as somebody making £1 million on eBay in a year. Exactly as successful because you set out a goal and you achieved it, no matter what it is. Right? You can't compare. They are the same. Well, you can compare. Have you achieved your goal? Yes. Then you are as successful as anyone else who's achieved their goal. Another one I put down. Listing 10 things a week could be your goal. Mm-hmm. And if you do that, you are successful. Don't let anybody else tell you you're not. Not having to have a job, working for someone else, I put down. That's kind of my constant goal. Yeah. And I've been achieving that goal for 20 plus years. So that's my success.
Yeah. Right? And there have been moments where things have not been great.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We've thought, right, should we get a job? And then we're like, oh, no. then we get real and we're like, no, I couldn't work for someone else.
Yeah. I feel like we're both so out of the employment realm now. Yeah. It would be tricky, but never say never. And it has been a very up and down 20 years. I'm not saying this has been plain sailing, but you have to work at your goals.
Also,
right?
It hasn't been exactly the same as it is now because our business has, looked very different 10, 15 years ago to the way it looks now.
Yep. We used to turn over huge numbers. We used to make, compared to what we do now, huge numbers. But that was then. This is now.
Yeah.
And we had different goals then,
yes,
right? We were trying to pay off a mortgage as quickly as we could. Mm-hmm. So it was all about big numbers, big turnover, big profit. And I worked 7 days a week, many weeks.
Yeah, we pretty much did.
Right?
Yeah.
But my goals changed drastically when we came out of the high street and we'd paid off our house. Then it was about how little can we do and still be comfortable and happy. The goal shift. And that's so key in this discussion. And I think people miss that.
Yeah.
People don't understand that people's goals are not only vastly different, but they change as you go through your life.
Yeah.
It sounds so simple when you say it.
Market Man Mike says, just watching you guys on eBay years ago selling 50p items for £10 sprung out to me as successful, and I wanted to do what you do, work from home and not have to deal with anyone in a workplace.
Yeah. And it's as simple or as complicated as that sounds. That's all we've ever done, really. Buy stuff cheap and sell it for more. Repeat. Yeah. Repeat. Repeat. Yeah. Yeah.
Flippin' Maggie says, who's that young bloke with you tonight? Sounds like Nick, but 20 years younger.
Beard's gone. Did you notice? Just wanted to say hi to Dawn down under. Good to see you. It's the That's Flippin' Retro ladies. Totally agree with this. We do things differently from everyone else. I was getting really stressed trying to keep up with all the other resellers.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do that. Don't do that.
But I'm not saying we don't all fall into that trap. And this is what social media does. It's you start to question, hang on, should I be making a lot more? Can I make a lot more? Maybe I'm terrible at this. But you know what I mean? You get sucked into comparing.
And I'm guilty of that.
Yep.
Definitely.
We all are.
I flip, I go through Instagram and I see other people doing something and I think, oh, I'm doing it all wrong, or I'm not as good as that, or yeah, and then I have to have a word with myself.
If you can use social media to gain inspiration and maybe be inspired to list more, if that's what you want, then it can be a positive thing. It's when it gets a bit toxic and you're feeling pressure that you shouldn't be putting on yourself.
Yeah.
Being inspired is one thing.
Inspiration is a good thing. But feeling like you should be doing it, like this, the word again, should, isn't it?
Yeah.
Feeling you should be doing this because that person's doing it.
Yeah. It's very similar in the YouTube space. And now you guys are making videos, you probably experience that when you look outwards at other channels and you think, oh God, and it's all numbers based, right? Oh, my videos are doing this and so's are doing that. What am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong. You're doing you.
Yeah, and if you tried to be like somebody else, then it would be even worse because it would be obvious.
Yeah.
So you've got to. What's that saying? Your vibe attracts your tribe, isn't it? So people come to you because of what you put out there in being yourself. So
I heard something a month or two back. Be yourself so those that are looking for you can find you.
Oh yeah, I love that. There you go, early words of wisdom.
That's the winner. Yeah, thanks for the comment. What else have we got here? Oh, is that Sharon?
That is Sharon, yes.
That sent the CDs.
Yes.
I hope you were in before. I mentioned your package has arrived. I will message you. Yeah, I think they are going to be gifted to a friend.
Are they?
If that's okay. These ones.
Because Sharon asked if we would donate them.
Oh, yes. So, my apologies, you did. There isn't a great deal of value to them, so we will probably do what you asked. Yeah. Sorry, I've completely forgot about that.
It's a good job he's got me.
Good job I've got you. But thank you so much, Sharon. Yes, I appreciate it. Okay. No.
Oh, no.
Sale on my house fallen through again.
Oh no.
Is that 3 times, 4 times?
Oh my goodness. That's so frustrating. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I sell things I love. That makes me feel good. That others might think no.
Others might think no thanks. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. What's Ross saying? There's a group of people going around trying to tell people on YouTube how to run their business. Master of Pieces has it, Reseller George has, Ricky has, everyone has.
Oh yeah. The Unsolicited Opinion gang are out in force at the moment. They kind of go in waves.
Yeah, I didn't really know what that was all about. I saw George's post talking about something, but I wasn't sure what that was all about.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one then.
Yeah, I'll try and keep out of it all.
I've seen some of Ricky's Instagram posts where he actually puts the comments up.
Oh, really?
But yeah, if you put yourself out there on YouTube, you will attract people basically telling you how to run your business or telling you how crap your business is. And it's like, you have no idea. And going back to the premise of this video, that success is bound by your own parameters of what you're trying to get out of it. And that's none of anybody else's business. They may not be party to what you're trying to achieve, which could be selling 10 things a week, not having a boss, whatever it is. How much money you're making or your situation or what your shed looks like is, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
What we do? Do you want to read that one?
Yeah. Once Love Treasure says, I'm fortunate to be in a position where I don't need my reselling business to bring much in. As long as it pays for itself, I look at it as a success, but I still need to work at it to keep it that way. Exactly, yes. Yeah, if we didn't do work every week, we certainly wouldn't be able to pay our bills. But it's knowing what your levels of that are. And, you know, if we wanted to, we could work much harder. And, you know, if we wanted to achieve a different goal, like go on a big holiday or something, or, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like we're in a similar position to maybe where you're at, but you don't get there by mistake. That comes through your own hard work and planning and graft. But yeah, we are similar. Although I still love what I do, and I'm still in some ways a workaholic. So I'm in this weird kind of limbo of trying to do less but wanting to do more. Yeah.
Sharpie Staunch, that's a good name, said, I've made £158 so far from a box of cassette tapes my neighbour put on their driveway with a free please take away written on it, just as eBay started free fees for private sellers.
Win-win. Yeah, there's nothing more I love than a freebie. And you've probably seen, if you watch my picking orders videos, more often than in the past, I keep saying, this was picked up for free, this was picked up for free. And I'm sourcing free stock a lot more actively than I used to. It's quite exciting because you never know what you're going to get. Never going to know what pops up. Had a load of free cassettes, and I listed a load of free cassettes the other week. Yeah. There's not much in there. I think we've sold a couple already. Yeah, that's not bad going, is it? 158 so far.
I know.
From a box picked up off a driveway.
Fantastic.
Love it. Yeah, Chris saying good luck to Rich and Ali. It's got to happen soon. That's dragged on for way too long. It's hard when you start out, but you gradually build up your business and there are ups and downs. Absolutely. In any self-employment, it's not just reselling. Working for yourself is not the easy option. Don't let anybody tell you it is.
No, it's not. It's hard work. We all know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are no shortcuts, are there, at all? And some people do think there should, you know, some people come into it fresh and new. I think there should be shortcuts, and there should be a formula, and there should be, you know, they want to be told how to do that.
Yeah, I think people get confused. I think that you can be taught some of the basics about how to sell on eBay, or how to do a tax return, or the basics of a profit and loss account, or whatever that might be. But I don't think you can teach reselling, because there's hundreds, if not thousands, of different niches, and we're still learning daily. We don't know half of it, right? And then if you specialize, like we mentioned Lex earlier, she specialized in jewelry. You could not learn Lex's knowledge of jewelry or Edward's knowledge of antiques. Edward's is a lifetime of learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? My knowledge of music and media, I've been buying and selling secondhand CDs since 1998.
Yeah.
So whatever this knowledge is, I couldn't tell you it.
Yeah. And we were also saying that just within, like, taking Edward, for example, just within antiques and vintage, there's so many different things that you can niche down to, like, you know, glass and ceramics and furniture, and, you know, there's no way that somebody could just teach you all of that.
There's so many levels of it. And even if you can identify something as that's an Edwardian drinking glass, is it valuable? And how valuable is it? And is condition really important?
Yeah, you've got to do that work yourself. Whatever you're interested in, you've got to do the learning yourself. What's RJ saying?
Question, please. Selling goods to Russia, is this allowed? That's a good question. I don't know if there's any. Obviously, there's sanctions on Russia, but whether that means
switched Russia off for GSP.
Did they?
I think so.
It's a good question. We don't have the answer to, I'm afraid.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever sold anything to Russia.
We have in the past.
Have we?
I've sent Lego to Russia, going back years and years before the conflict.
Okay. That's an interesting question. I don't know.
Flipping Maggie. I could probably make more money selecting something else to sell, but I love my pots. Finding them new homes gives me joy.
Yeah, same here.
We said a similar thing when we were sat earlier. If this was all about money, we would do something else.
Yeah.
There are easier ways of earning a living. We could go out and get a job. We could probably earn more getting a job quite easily.
We could definitely earn more. Sometimes we're on I don't know what.
We don't tend to talk about numbers because it's not relevant.
I don't know. But then, as you say, it's up and down. It's like a roller coaster.
But we wouldn't get the satisfaction and the joy and the relatively stress-free life out of it. That's the payoff. And you have to keep reminding yourself, what are your reasons? What are your goals? And if your goal is to stay not employed by somebody else, then we're achieving that.
I stand by the fact that at the end of the day, if you're comfortable and you're not worrying too much, then you're all right.
Indeed.
There's Cliff.
Cliff's in. I enjoy what you do. You enjoy what I do. You will never work a day in your life if you enjoy what you do.
Oh, okay.
I think is what we're getting at. Yeah, exactly. And it's so valuable. And that is success in itself, isn't it?
This is a good point here, Pitco says 2 people can list and sell the exact same items, yet both of them will have different results.
Yeah, we see it happen all the time.
Yeah.
You see it within different channels. People saying, oh, I avoid so-and-so because I have trouble selling them. And it might be something I'm actively looking for all the time. Mm-hmm. It's like with Nerf guns. I've heard people moaning about them. They're not worth the hassle. I find Nerf guns, it's like printing cash.
And people tell you all the time, why do you sell media? It's just, why do you mess around with that? And you love it.
Because turning a 10p
as much as Maggie loves her pots.
Sold a free DVD earlier for £17. I mean, why do I sell media? Because it's easy and it works. Not all of it makes you a lot of money. You have to say that as well, because then people will say, oh, Nick, you sold a £4 CD the other day. After fees and post, you'll have made £1.
It's a pound we didn't have.
But they're the dregs of pickups, right, that you end up with anyway.
A slow boogie is better than no boogie. We're getting all the words of wisdom in early tonight.
A slow boogie?
The only way to do great work is to love what you do.
I like that.
Yeah. What's Ross saying? A lot of comments from me about this, but I've suffered from it in the corporate world. I no longer want to get promoted. The stress and politics is not worth the money. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And again, it comes down to knowing what you want out of life and being happy with your goals and staying focused on them and not being thrown off course by what someone tells you should be trying to do, or or trying to compare yourself to someone else's, whatever it might be on Instagram.
Yeah.
Their car, their life, their whatever.
Yeah.
Shiny things over there.
Shiny things. Hannah says, I'd rather support a small business than some big company, as a smaller company seems to care more about their customers and seems to value what they do and their customers.
Yeah.
And Annie says, I think success means to be happy and content. Comparison is the thief of joy. 100%. And I make a point of never comparing myself to anyone. Very happy with my lot.
Yeah. I wish it was as easy as that. I don't think it is that easy, and I admire you if you can really stay focused in your world and be happy with that. Because I think I do immerse myself in the YouTube, Instagram world quite a lot, and whether you're consciously or subconsciously doing it, the comparisons creep in, and that's what part of what sparked this video and this conversation is, that I find it very toxic. For your own mental health and just in general, trying to be something someone else imposes on you is a source of stress.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about outside of reselling, like Ellen in the dance world. She'll watch a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of Instagram videos, etc. Follows a lot of professional dancers, and I think personally she's as good as they are. But she will, because she's she's watching them for inspiration. However, there'll be times when she does start to compare herself, and she, gets really down on herself and says, I'm not as good as that person. I'll never be successful because I'm not as good as these people, and she gets that sort of, what's the word when you have a, somebody tell me, like some certain syndrome you get, like imposter syndrome. That's it.
I definitely had imposter syndrome at the eBay Awards dinner. 100%. Had moments when I was sat there. We were put on table one with the eBay execs right at the front, and when we were like, I did have a moment where inside my head I was like, do you think these people know that and I'm now going to say the words that I'm annoyed at. I just sell stuff out of my shed. But I was doing it to myself in the moment. Right? Imposter syndrome. But I am achieving success within the parameters of what I'm trying to achieve. Yeah. It's an interesting one.
Yeah. Dig Vintage says, success for me is about reducing stress and having a sense of freedom on a daily basis.
There you go.
That sums it up for me.
There you go. Well said. Yeah.
Yeah. And Deborah says, I love reselling at the big showground antique collectors fairs, but I'll never be rich. It's an expensive hobby. I just really enjoy what I do. Any profit, big or small, is a nice bonus.
Yeah. And there you go. So you summed up some of the reasons why you are doing this. And to keep reminding ourselves of the core reasons, what we're trying to get out of this. It is a very healthy thing to do. So yeah, what else did I write down?
There's Big Al here. Just going to read that out. I've done eBay for 23 years. I've done eBay for 23 years on eBay. And sadly, due to constant ducking and diving with eBay, I've had no choice but to grow. I've always been disadvantaged due to my geographical location. I needed to grow.
Oh, it's Al. Sorry, I didn't realise. Yes, we asked specific questions about your situation to eBay. We didn't get the answers on the day. They scheduled another follow-up. When's that for? I had 25th in my head, but that's tomorrow. When are we chatting with eBay?
Tomorrow.
Oh, it is tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll try and remember if I can get some answers that might help you. I will message you. Basically, a lot of the questions we had, people just didn't have answers for, which I know you've come up against. So they were going to go away and come back with definitive answers. We're hoping to make a video all about the whole GPRS. I get it wrong. GPSR. Yeah.
Stockport Rocker says, I totally agree. Re-stress. My job is a desk job, but the work is relentless, so not physically demanding, but mentally. Jessica says, for me, it's the stories I get when customers say, I loved my purchase so much. Yeah, I love that. I had some really nice feedback today. We sent that cup to Australia, sold on Etsy, the big breakfast cup.
Oh, yeah.
Antique breakfast cup.
Yeah.
It went to Australia and we got feedback. It arrived in one piece and they're very pleased with it.
Good.
That's flipping retro. I'm so happy that I gave up being a nurse. Being sworn at and threatened on a daily basis was getting me down, and that was just the stuff.
Oh, yeah. Very different worlds, but being in uniform on the beat, you get a lot of the abuse.
I was going to say, I think we had this discussion before, but I was going to say that having our shop, we were abused on a weekly basis by various different people.
True.
I remember one woman coming in just absolutely screaming at me for some reason. I think you were having your lunch. She was, I don't know, I don't think she was very well, but she was just screaming at me. I had no idea what she was talking about.
Any job where you come face to face with the general public, you'll have seen all of these types. Yeah. I mean, I know we've discussed this before, but I still miss the shop. I don't think we'll ever go back to retail again now, but I do miss the face-to-face, but I don't miss the abuse.
The abuse, yeah.
Because we used to buy things directly off the public. It's like any sort of cash converters, pawn shop or something. If people don't get exactly what they thought they were going to get out of their stuff, they take it out on you.
Yeah, but it's their choice to accept it or not.
You can either accept my offer or leave. But no, they like to stand there and argue.
Used to trying to explain to them, but we're giving you an offer. You don't have to accept it, because they'd say you're stealing from me, you're ripping me off. I haven't bought anything from you yet. I've given you an offer of what I can pay on these items in relative to what we can sell them for.
It used to go the same pattern. I would make an offer on, let's say, a stack of video games. Let's say I'd offer 50 quid or 50 quid trade-in or 30 quid cash, whatever. We used to work in a formula. Yeah. So the resale value might be 100. So you'd get 50 store credit or 30 cash, whatever the formula we had at the time. And it was basically the same as CEX's formula, right? Yeah. So you'd explain this and then they go, you're ripping me off. I'm like, no, I've made you an offer. Now, if that doesn't give you what you need out of these games, take them away. I am offering you.
I would say to people quite often, if you sold these yourself on eBay or something, you'd get better money.
Yeah.
But you're selling to us, and we have to then resell them in the shop. People weren't understanding that. There was that one guy with his Xbox who went absolutely ballistic. But what people couldn't understand is that they would buy. I mean, it's just figures off the top of my head, but you'd buy a console for, say, £200 new or whatever it was. And then they'd bring to us, and secondhand, we'd only be able to sell it for 50, say. So we'd offer them 25, maybe, trade in, maybe 15, 20 cash or something. And they'd be like, I paid £200 for this. This is worth £200. You'd be like, no, but knew it was £200.
2 years ago when you bought it new, yes.
But now it's this.
Anyway, so we used to have fun and games with that, but some people you just couldn't get through to at all.
Yeah.
And I
think he phoned the police, didn't he? He phoned the police.
Oh, did he?
He was absolutely going mad.
We laugh now, but some of these people were really quite threatening. But anyway, you mentioned eBay. I've definitely had conversations with people where it's like, I need more money than that. And I said, well, this is all I can offer you as a business. But you could achieve the top end, what I'm going to sell it for in here. You could get near to that if you just took the time to list it all on eBay. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I'm like, well, and 9 times out of 10, after they have a go at you and argue with you, they then go, I'll take the cash. I'm like, are you sure? You've just told me you wanted an awful lot more than that. Yeah, give me the cash. You could probably get 4 times as much if you listed it on eBay. No, give me the cash. Anyway, sorry, we got into that.
We could go on and on. Anne Courtney says, success for me is paying £1.85 for my car's MOT. The other £53 was met by 2 sales. Suits me fine.
Right, there you go.
Once Love Treasures says, going into reselling gave me the freedom to work from home and take whatever time I needed to care for my wife. That was all that was important. Yeah. That made us both happy. And to me, that's success. Absolutely 100%.
That sums up what we were getting at before. That if you can be focused on what success is to you, and that is making ends meet and being there to look after your wife.
Yeah.
What you're doing, how much you're making, how much you're turning over is of nobody else's business, right? Yeah.
For me, giving up my job at Amazon and deciding to start a business on eBay so that I could be there and raise Ellen, and we didn't have to send her to childminders, and we could, still raise her and run a business at the same time. I mean, to me, that's success. Ali's drone flying. How do you get over a slow moment? When I first started, items were selling like hotcakes, but recently I haven't had a sale. Do you think one negative feedback could be the cause?
To the last bit, no. One negative feedback shouldn't make a big difference at all. How do we get over slow moments? we tend to have money in reserve. So if we have a really bad month, for example, we can ride that quite easily. We've always operated having a big buffer of cash in the bank. So that's kind of how we level out everything. Yeah, beyond that, I don't know. We don't really have anything else in place. I do have clearance sales every now and again, mark things down, or end sell similar, reduce prices to get an influx of sales. That always works for us. Yeah.
You know, like the sales strictly, but different. Just keep listing.
What's Al saying there? And yet I do millions on eBay and Amazon, guys. I know you do. You've got a huge operation, which is incredible. But you guys are my heroes. Wow, thank you. However, I find how eBay focus on everything in England and not the other countries when it comes to shipping and posting. Yeah. I know what you're saying. Northern Ireland is just like an afterthought to them, unfortunately. Yeah.
Antoinette says, when I was working, I found people higher up coped with their stress by passing it on down the line to the rest of us. Any stresses I have now as a reseller are my own. Oh, yeah. I definitely have experienced that. When I worked at Amazon, I had a boss that used to do that all the time. I'd have an inbox full of work that I had to do. And he'd just come along and just put stuff in my inbox. His work. And then you'd off he'd go and have a cup of tea, you know. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that really resonates. That does with me as well. And it's not that reselling isn't stressful. It's not that working for yourself isn't stressful, but it's different because you've chosen to take it on, and it's not been passed on to you by somebody else. And you don't have someone tapping you on the shoulder going, have you done that report yet? Have you done this? Have you filled in all of that stuff?
No, I just have you going, have you done so and so? Or what we need to do
what we need to do today.
We need to do so and so. What he really means is you need to.
I'm Andrea's stressed.
Kevin says you'll be learning you're learning all the time, basically. Yes, you are, definitely. The Swimming Bear says, I gave up my NHS job a year ago and have been full-time reselling since. Success is my heart being lighter every day while managing to sustain myself.
Wow.
I almost clapped that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I love it when the chat says it way better than we can. Perfect.
Paints, plastics and figures. I've seen the odd reseller of late taking his time into account, searching for items to resell, and then saying, I need £17 per hour on top of what he paid for the items. Don't ever lose your gamble and spark. That's an odd way of looking at it, isn't it? That whoever's doing that. Yeah.
Hope everyone has survived the storm. I've lost a fence panel, so I know what I'll be doing tomorrow.
Yeah, I think we're getting mostly the tail end of it here. It's really windy.
What was this storm called?
Was it Bert?
Bert and Ernie. Is Ernie coming up next week?
I don't know if I've got that wrong.
We didn't get it. There was a lot of wind. Our back garden was full of leaves that arrived from God knows where. I've cleared all of them up. That's all I've had to do.
Big Al says, I remember only 2 years ago, you both sold a lot more using
Amazon was half of our business.
Yeah.
I got fed up with them.
Yeah, well, the pandemic came along and it all went a bit south. And then it's just the way that it changed so much.
They moved the goalposts on some of the categories we were in. I wasn't able to go outsourcing during the pandemic, so my inventory went right down. And then when we looked at it, we just decided, I'm done with the endless BS they used to throw at us about stuff. Yeah. You think eBay's bad? Amazon, in my opinion, are just
you can't even talk to a person there.
Oh, you can't talk to anyone at Amazon. No.
Annie is okay, says, personally, as a single mum, the challenges I find with reselling is the isolation especially in Q4. Also keeping motivation, routine and structure, which I realise isn't just a single person issue. Yeah.
You've kind of summed up the battles of being self-employed, because the joy is everything's on your shoulders. The negative is everything's on your shoulders. Staying motivated, staying committed, staying productive. And I've tried to be more and more open about my struggles recently in my little videos in the shed, that I have the sort of brain that struggles with all of those things regardless. And I think I've accepted recently, I'm never going to be better at that. I have some real strengths. I also said in a recent video, I'm not sure what they are, but I know they're there, right?
Yes.
I think I'm good at certain things, but yeah, time management, staying consistently productive. I am this. I'm totally that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what I was going to say is we were discussing, I think it was earlier today actually, the fact that as lovely as our village is, everybody by their own admission goes into hibernation in the winter months. And you barely see a soul.
Yeah.
And unless you actually put yourself out there or arrange to meet up with people, you don't see anyone. And it can, because we work on our own, it can be quite isolating, and it feels it feels quite lonely. I mean, we've got each other obviously, but we bore each other to tears. I'm saying that I bore you to tears more than the other way around, but
I did ping a message to a friend of ours about going out for a beer. I don't know if he's got back to me. Yeah, I think I do the same with Ron as well. Yeah. So going back to was it this question? Yeah, the isolation can be problematic, and I have to force myself to be social, go out there, get that perspective by chatting to somebody else and for an evening, because it always helps. You always come back home and go, that was good. I don't know what it's done for me, but it was good.
Yeah, because you get life from somebody else's perspective, not just our own little world.
Yep. Yeah. Going outside of whatever your norm is and looking back in, even if it's just for a couple of hours in the pub with a friend, it is important. You've seen those adverts about going out on a date with a friend?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I honestly thought to myself, that just shows you what kind of life we're living in this day and age in our culture. Yeah. Because they're having to tell us on adverts to go and be sociable.
Yeah. Joe, you've just highlighted Joe's comment. Paying off your mortgage is a great goal to aim for, as then every month that you're much better off without the debt, but just overpaying the mortgage has the same effect. 100%. If I could give anybody that is on the housing ladder one piece of advice, it is pay off as much as you can and then some. That's what we did. We set out, that's one time in my life I have planned methodically everything. I knew all of the numbers. I worked out how much I would save, and it was a colossal amount of money by paying off our mortgage as soon as we could. So when the shop was at its peak and we were earning a lot of money, we put all of that into the house. We lived the same fairly frugal lifestyle even when our business took off, on purpose, because we were quite happy and
we're happy and content with our lot.
we set off with a plan and we achieved it in 6 years, and it's still perhaps our greatest financial achievement, and it set us up for this now. The reason we don't bust a gut working is what we did 10 years ago, 15 years ago even, or more. When was that?
That's Flipper Retro says, no one makes videos like we do in the reselling world. As we are almost at 700 subs, everyone needs to take things less seriously.
Yes.
And if you're not subscribed to That's Flipper Retro, then you should, because they'll cheer you up. Treasure Trove says, speaking as someone who has had little trouble biting off more than I can chew and setting goals too high, there is something very healthy about being kind to yourself and sometimes letting goals slide. Absolutely. Yes. yeah, you should always be kind to yourself.
Yeah, giving yourself time to do nothing is something I struggle with. I've taken my laptop upstairs, lying down and listening to music. It's my little treat these days. I tend to fall asleep.
Ellen says you're in your emo age.
Am I? Well, it's 9 times out of 10 it's Lana Del Rey. I'll go and have a Lana moment upstairs.
He says I find it very funny that Dad goes upstairs to listen to Lana Del Rey in his bedroom.
I do. It's my little moment. But she does send me to sleep as well. Yeah, there was something else I was going to say about biting off more than you can chew. I have always done that as well, and sometimes set goals. Perhaps it's not that I set goals too big. I set too many goals at once quite often, and then stress sets in.
Yeah.
When I don't achieve what I set out to achieve. Yeah. I'm not going to talk about details, but as part of that, and what I was thinking about then was the app. Oh. We have some very positive movement on the app. We've got another meeting this week. We haven't started on a day, but that's really exciting. We've had a lot of boring problems you don't want to know about, but everything has now moved on.
Yes. Sharon says, no problem. Yes, you can gift them to your friend.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm going to listen to some. I know you said it's not really my stuff, but some of this really is. They're right here. I won't grab them now. But yeah.
RH Tube says, even though I have a 9-to-5 office job, I can still relate. I'm not into the corporate ladder climbing game. I just want to enjoy my job, and that's my idea of success. Reselling is my spare time fun.
Perfect. Yeah. And hold on to that. Hold on to that thought and that idea in your head.
Paints, Plastics and Figures says, I see some people reselling on here and I think to myself, you're mad, etc. Selling a camcorder, £200, for example. Then following week, bitching maybe, about how poor it's been of late. Don't ever lose your spark. Yeah. I don't think we're going to need words of wisdom tonight. We've had so many words of wisdom.
Well, I don't know if that's what the essence of that was, but celebrating your little wins is important.
And it's okay. I imagine the YouTube business and reselling business, even on the same subject, are very different models. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Not having that Sunday evening feeling of dreading Monday morning and starting another work of week is priceless for me. Absolutely. Yeah.
I enjoy Mondays because the thrill of seeing what's sold and packaging it up and getting it out to its owners has never left me. The packaging, if I'm rushing to get everything to the post office, that can become a slight stress. But I enjoy Mondays because that's the fruit of our labor. What's sold over the weekend and picking the orders and making a little video. Yeah, I look forward to Mondays. They are quite Groundhog Day-ish, but at least it's a Groundhog Day I enjoy, right?
Yes, yeah. Oh, Janet says, I loved your last video, Andrea, even though you made me cry. Sorry, Janet.
Oh, I was watching that earlier. Which bit? I didn't watch all of it. At the end? What did you say at the end?
You have to watch it to find out.
Oh.
I found it to be one of your best. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, Russia is banned from post. Yeah, I had a feeling it was.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Right, we're very, very behind and we're nearly 9 o'clock. So
okay.
I'm just going to scooch down. Success for me, says Helen, isn't about how much I make from reselling, but it's about the positive effect it's had on my mental health.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah. I've seen too many people over the years just working themselves into the ground, sticking at a stressful job.
Right, highlight tomorrow. I'll be back in a minute.
I just wish they could somehow gain the strength to walk out, do something else, because I know it's not easy, particularly if you've got financial pressures that you need to fulfill. Yeah, that's no fun, is it? Sticking at a job that stresses you out. Right, what's this one? The big trouble with the corporate world is you have to pretend you care, but I can't control my BS detector eyebrow. Right, yeah. What's this one? Anyone who says, but you only made £1 does not know how to make money and they won't long term. Okay. Is that in reference to me making £1 on a CD? Right. Those pounds add up. Well, they do. And the point I try and make when I show in the picking orders videos some cheap media, I'm still making money on that stuff, but that's not where the real money's made. That's just the bog standard bits that I own it now. It came in a pile of stuff that I bought or whatever. I might as well make the extra £1 for the 2 minutes it takes to list a CD. But the real money made when I sold the £20 one instantly when I listed it. Yeah, some people just don't get it.
I've just seen.
Look at the bigger picture.
Just see Rebecca's question. Does Ellen watch Strictly? Yes. And if you watched it tonight, there were the professionals danced with, I think, 4 special guests, and 3 of them she knows from Instagram, as in talks to on Instagram, knows within the dance world. And she said, I think one of the girls was at her, she did a showcase a while back, and she was there.
Right, we are going to think about wrapping up soon. If you would like to put words of wisdom in, we will get to them shortly. I'm just trying to read some comments. Ross says, for example, some people tell eBayers they need to get out. Here we go. Here we go. They need to get up at 5 a.m. to list. If that works for you, fair play, but not everyone can. Some people don't function at that time. It's a biological fact in science.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more there.
Agree with you more. There is a culture within our community, and the kind of zenith of that type of culture is the tech and sports group. And I know that works for some people. And I think it's more actually that group these days about a community vibe.
Yes.
But there is a lot of kind of you need to,
other, isn't it?
I get that side of it. But the side of that group that I've heard about, which is telling you what to do, to me, that negates the whole point of working for myself. Why would I then go and be in a group so someone can tell me off all the time or tell me what I need to do? It's not for me, but I agree if it works for people. A good friend of ours, Mel, loves it and it works.
And also James Boldfine.
James is part of that group. I've even been in there on a call and had a chat, like a little session thing.
And it does work for some people, but for others it doesn't. It goes back to the one size doesn't, fit all kind of thing.
Well, if you're my personality type, someone tells me what to do, I'll do the opposite. So it wouldn't work for me, even if it might be a good thing. Yeah. Right. Okay. I try to just watch for information on what to buy. If something really important pops off, everyone will talk about it, and I'll watch the one that has a positive mindset overall. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they're starting. They're coming in. Do you want to read that one?
We're really far behind, though, so I think this is a very early one. You don't have to shine as bright as others to be a success. Any amount of light will be seen by the people who support you.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Right, off. We're off now.
Done.
Oh, what's Lainey saying? I deleted lots of poems I wrote years ago because I compared them to others. I thought mine were terrible. I so regret it now. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got books of poems I used to write. I don't write poetry anymore because I just don't have the space in my brain. Don't, allow myself to do that anymore. But I've got books of stuff that I've kept. So, I look back on them, and some are not that great, and some of them I still really love. But at least I've got them in a book and I didn't delete them.
Yeah. They're a moment in time, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to draw for fun and for joy. That was my talent as a kid, was art. Yeah. I just don't do it anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's bad. We should give ourselves the time to do these things.
Yeah, it's a bit more complicated for me. I associate a lot of stress with that.
I do with photography now because I came out of uni, well, like you, in a pretty bad way mentally. So photography for me is like that now.
Yeah, it's silly really, because the art wasn't really directly associated with the mental breakdown I had, but because it all happened at the same time, I was at art college and it all fell apart. Won't go into it now. So that my brain associates it all.
Yeah,
it's really odd. I probably need therapy, but
I think we all do. not talking about you guys.
Oh no, yeah, include all of them. I would, yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think I could do with therapy, and Ellen says it all the time. She could. I just highlight RJ who's asking, how's Jeff? We now have 2 chihuahuas, Rocky and Gizmo, and they make life great. Well, I just went in to put I'm a Celebrity on for Ellen, because I have to stream through my phone, and Jeff was on his back in the most relaxed position you've ever seen.
Jeff's fine. Okay. What's this? A retailer I worked for let me do a minus figure selection. I don't know what one of those is, I'll be honest. Yeah. What's a minus figure section?
I don't know.
Anyway, I was outselling all stores in the whole UK within 4 weeks. Found out last year I have an autism brain, so most can't equal my success. Yeah, well, you found what you were good at then, did you?
We're all just, we're all just so different, and that perfectly sums it up, doesn't it?
Finding your skill and doubling down on it. So I saw an amazing video somewhere about that. I can't remember, but the essence was finding what you're good at and just going for that.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah.
See, I think that you're very good with coming up with ideas, and sort of you have that sort of ideas and creative brain, and you come up with that, and you've come up with so many different things over the years. And I think what I'm good at is supporting, and I think I'm a good cheerleader, and I'm very good at helping to steer things and steady the ship. Do you think? I don't know if you'd agree with that. You don't look like you do.
I was listening to you.
That's what I think I'm good at. I think I'm good at like supporting people and helping to keep things steady and steer things in certain directions. And when you come up with the ideas, over the years, especially like with the shop and all of that, I've helped to facilitate it and to push it in the right direction. And because by your own admission in the past, you've come up with a lot of ideas, but then sometimes you can't quite make them happen.
Nope.
So I help you to make them happen.
My brain is a problem solver. If you put a crazy, ridiculous puzzle in front of me, that's it. That will be done. And my brain just works like that. Yeah. Solving complex puzzles and extrapolating information and seeing where it's going to go, that sort of stuff. My brain does that, but actually finishing a task, no, I can't do that. Right? My brain's already given up on the task halfway through and gone on to something else. That's what it's done.
Oh, it's Terra Picker, who we're ceasing. I get up at 3 a.m. 3 times a week to take my stuff to the flea market. I love it, and I can't wait to get back home to Florida.
Awesome.
And Big Al says, can we not all do what we do best? I'm happy running my business. You're happy doing yours. I feel successful on a little basis and now on a large basis. Still think you two. Well, I'm not even going to read that out because, yeah.
I think you summed it up there, and it's the interesting thing about this conversation is, I wouldn't belittle anyone's achievement, and I love when people are committed to growing a business, building a business. I love watching John, Luke, and Charlotte's journey, and where you've taken your business to is amazing. That was us 20 years ago, building until we had this thriving high street thing. Our goals and how we judge our success really changed when we paid off the mortgage and decided, done with that, we're moving on to do something else. I would never consider putting somebody down, but I do see the comments putting us little guys messing about in our shed. I do see those comments, those little sideways jabs.
Yeah.
And it just annoys me sometimes.
Aaron Sale says, hi Nick and Andrea, my success I make enough to survive, but I have freedom. No good at structured jobs. This reselling full-time. I can go to appointments, kids, sports days, etc. Freedom equals success.
Well said. Yeah, good to see you, Aaron. Hope it's going well.
Yes, it is, Stormbird.
But is that how far back we are?
I know. I'm going to have to zoom down.
Why is it so high in
Oh, what does Bram say? Talking about meetups, is there a Hitchin one this year? Well, next year there will be, but we haven't set a date yet.
We haven't had the headspace to decide. I think what we'll do, we'll put the feelers out there and see what sort of dates work in January for our late Christmas party. Is it going to be Hitchin? Likely, but that's not been confirmed. Yeah, there was a question around, do we get eBay involved because they are funding meetups? My gut feeling is I don't want them to be part of it, but
I think
that sounds so bad.
What you mean is what we've decided, or haven't quite 100% decided it, but what we're leaning towards is not making it so structured and keeping it at this sort of more sociable, relaxed level, rather than making it feel like it's a meeting. It'd be a meetup, social meetup, rather than a meeting. I think what we've always done is we don't have it's not like I want to say corporate event, but it's not that. It's it's not like a place to go to learn things. We're not ever doing things like that with although it's not a structured thing. It's a place to facilitate people to get together and have a chat. And if you want to talk shop. And if you don't want to talk shop, you just want to get to know people on a social level because you are feeling isolated, then you've got that choice as well.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Some people come to our meetups and talk eBay all night, and that's what they get out of it. And we've had messages from people saying, I learned so much that day just from chatting to us or whoever else is there. And if that's what you want out of it, that's fine. People will talk eBay if you chat eBay at them. But for us and many others, we love the fact that it's not an eBay event and it can just be let your hair down, drink too much beer and have a laugh, if that's what you want out of it. If we did get eBay involved, I think it would be way more structured and maybe lose that. Yeah. But of course, we could just go on into the evening and do whatever.
Could. So we're still undecided, but we're leaning more
John,
to the way we normally do it.
We will do something. I'll let you know as soon as we know.
Yeah. Stephen says, from the day I became self-employed at 18, people have told me I need to account for my time and pay myself a good hourly rate. I very much doubt I'd still be self-employed if I followed that advice. Yeah.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I've heard that bandied around. How much is your time worth? How much is your time worth? And I feel like saying, how much is my sanity worth? Like, that's a good response to that. Yeah. Oh, you can't sell me. You're at £4 each. How much is your time worth? My sanity is worth more than whatever you're prattling on about.
Yeah. Right, I am zooming down because I'm really sorry if I've missed people's comments because we've had such interesting comments tonight, but it's already 9:15, so we need to.
It's a long one.
Need to let you guys go on and enjoy your evenings. Tomorrow's got a words of wisdom. Annual income £20, annual expenditure 19 and 6. Result happiness. Annual income £20, annual expenditure £20 or ought and 6. Result misery. Have I read that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
My mentality is if I buy something for £1 and sell for £5, how long would it take to get £4 from the bank in interest? I'm with you.
Yeah. Oh, Will's got a words of wisdom there.
We're so far behind. It's just outside. Will says, in every life we have some trouble, but when you worry, you make it double. Don't worry, be happy.
Yeah.
Is that the don't worry?
It is, yeah, like that.
Bobby McFerrin, 1993.
Ross says, all that is, it's another Lord of the Rings. Strap in. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all that who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. Gandalf.
Oh, Gandalf.
I've heard that. I didn't realise it was Lord of the Rings, to be honest with you.
Be happy and live your best life. You're only here once and it's not for long.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. Oh, I like that. Ronald Reagan, interesting.
That's called demand avoidance, common in the neurotypical world. Neurotypical world.
What's that?
Demand avoidance. I can't remember what I was saying.
I don't know where we were at. Louise, I think. Never let anyone dull your light.
Where am I looking? Here.
Delta Goodrem.
Delta Goodrem. She came back with a new song a few months ago.
She came out with a new album.
I also had a big issue at university. My brain also associates it with university. Some very bad things happen, but therapy really helped me. Okay, interesting.
We need to get therapy. We should try out that BetterHelp thing that they keep advertising.
We all have different ways of working. So you do what you feel is best for you. Yes, it sounds so simple when we say it.
Yeah.
But it's
Sharon,
great
with
advice.
Her words of wisdom sums that up. You do you plus you be you equals success.
Is that the formula? We found the formula.
You be you, success. There we go. Simples.
We could have just said that at the beginning. We'd have been in and out in 5 minutes.
Hannah says, don't let anyone dampen your light. You can shine bright even in the darkest of rooms. There's a lot of that, talking about dampening light.
You and I are so alike, Nick. Scary. Is it scary? Yeah.
Will's got a words of wisdom. In every life you have... Oh, no, we've already read that.
Have we? Oh, okay.
It must have gone in twice.
Oh, that's flipping retro. We now have 666 subscribers. We are resellers of the beast.
Excellent. Did you hear about the hunt for the Hitchin Vandal? No, need to ask my friends about this. Right, scooching down to see if there's any more words of wisdom. What's Jessica saying? If you kissed a frog and it turned into a prince, would everybody like curtsying every day?
What?
Wow, that's food for thought. Peter says that this isn't words of wisdom, but it says the meetups are a great social occasion for me to get to know new people and catch up with regulars. Certainly be there whatever date it is and where. Awesome.
I think Peter's been to every meetup we've ever put on. Yeah.
Cliff says life is a journey and it is always better to take the scenic route.
My words of wisdom would perhaps be simple for today's chat. It's not all about the numbers.
You can leave your hat on.
You can leave your hat on. Is that how it goes? I don't know what the head bobble is.
C. Blaney says demand avoidance is if someone tells you to do something and you don't do it. Yes.
See, I meant neurodiverse. Okay, that makes more sense.
Now that does make sense. And Ellen said this the other day. She said that you definitely have demand avoidance.
Yeah.
And she said, she talked about the fact she does as well. So that's why sometimes you both butt heads, because if you tell her to do something, she won't do it and she won't even answer you, will she? She'll just walk out the room.
I also question everything. Which I still maintain is a positive. I don't take anything as a given. There's many things. It's funny because I've been watching posts about neurodivergence since this is an ongoing conversation between myself, my sister, and other family members, and I'm interested. I don't really. This sounds wrong, but I don't really care if I am or not. I totally embrace who I am. But it's interesting because I've been watching things on Instagram. My Insta feed is now just full of these posts of Here's a checklist. Do any of these apply? And I'm like, yep. Oh,
you showed me one the other day, didn't you? I was like, yeah,
I'm like,
that's everything.
This post just described my personality exactly.
SD Flip says, we are not what we know, but what we are willing to learn. And I think we're going to leave it on this one, which is Hannah says, don't follow the crowd, make your own path. Because I think that perfectly concludes everything that we've been talking about.
I am the captain of my soul. There's another part.
And the master of my
destiny or something.
Something like that.
Yay, we just butchered a phrase. Go. But the key in that is to have the will to stay on your path and believe in your own path, because that's just as important as anybody else's. And life and other people will try and blow you off or convince you that you're wrong. You're not. You dictate what success is by what you set out as your goals. Yeah. Remember that.
Just quickly before we go, Molly's Attic says Paul Whitehouse's wife is doing a great ADHD YouTube channel. Tamara says Google monotropism. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that, but write that down. And Brum Reseller says you can go your own way. Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, what a tune! You can go your own way. If I sang that right now, where would you be in your head?
I would be driving through America, probably through the mountains.
Yeah. The Rumours album just gives me flashes of driving through Grand Canyon and Alaska. I nearly said Arizona. We drove through Death Valley and listened to that album, so all images of that stuff. Yeah. Was it Paul Whitehouse?
His wife, but I don't know what the channel is.
Google will find it for me, no doubt. Right.
Okay, so I think we will leave it here because we've lost about 100 people. They've probably gone off to watch I'm a Celebrity.
People in life will blow you off.
I know, I totally.
We'll leave you with that. Thanks, Andy. Right, we'll see you next week. Is it next week we have a guest on? We've got a guest lined up now.
I don't know if it's next week or the week after.
Might be the week after. We don't know what we'll be doing next week. We'll see you there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for the good chat, everyone. Bye.